The more I grow in my personal life, the more I realize that detachment, that the ability to surrender and to let go of the outcome, of the obsession, of the importance that we give on people and things that we want to create in our life, the more I realize that detachment is the superpower that really helps us quantumly create amazing things in that magic, miracle-like way. And the more I realize that, the more attached I am, the more obsessed I am, the more needy I am, the more obsessed I am about something, the more it freaking delays, the more there is hindrance, the more there is obstacles and discord in my life that just freaking show up. And so detachment, in this video, we're going to talk about 2 ways that I always use and try to remind myself of in no matter the situation that I'm in. The moment I realize that I'm being a bit obsessive, that I'm being a bit needy, that I'm being a bit, compulsive about that thing that I want to create or achieve or bring into my life, to step back, to reframe myself, and to just trust. And this is so important because the first thing I just mentioned is that we give too much importance on people, things, experiences, those goals, desires that you have that you want to create in your life, right? We give so much importance there. And when we give so much importance, it appears as, obviously important, as, it's going to bring something into our life. And that without that object or that thing or that person, we are not going to get that sense of love, happiness, wealth, whatever. And so we subconsciously project qualities, essence, things we want to experience, really, usually a feeling, right? Whether you want to feel free, safe, loved, whatever those quality might be that you wanted to create. Maybe you want to feel just good enough, worthy. That was a big one for me, feeling worthy, right? We project subconsciously those qualities that we haven't mastered yet in ourselves toward goals, toward, achievements, outcomes, objects, person, people, situation, places, all those things. And so subconsciously, as we attach those qualities on those things, we feel like, well, when I get it, then I'll get that quality in my life, and then I'll be happy, and then I'll be successful, and then everything's gonna be okay. That's the ego game, right? That hamster wheel that never gets fulfilled. Because we all know, we've all been through so many experiences where you get that thing, you get that guy, that girl, that money, that job, that thing. And what happens next? It's great for a little while, and then you're back at chasing the next thing. And often that thing that you got becomes meaningless so fast. You take it for granted, right? We're not even appreciating things that we really, really, really wanted, that we got. And then we kind of like, whatever. It's so weird, isn't it? When you really think about it this way, it makes no sense. But the most important is that all the struggle, all the obsession, all the fighting, the working, the planning, the trying to force it to come into our life, all that hard work and hustle that we experience in that process is often not even needed if we can simply drop the resistance, 1, and 2, acknowledge what is that essence that I'm really chasing, and start giving it to myself, start creating consciously a way for me to master that essence, that quality, that feeling in me, right? And Neville Goddard, for example, talked often about the state of the wish fulfilled. And he will often say in many of his books and lectures that if you keep chasing from the old state, you're not a match to the things that you want. So it's very simple when you put it in that way, but when you are there, when you are perceiving the lack of something, it can be, for the ego puts a lot of force there, puts a lot of attention, a lot of energy there, a lot of resistance to letting go, because the mind then tricks us into like, what if I let go? I'm not gonna get it, right? And so we freak out. Well, what do you mean I should let go of wanting money or wanting that thing? And we associate letting go with, oh, I give up. But that is not the case. It's not about giving up, because whatever you choose to desire, it's good, it's okay, you can have it. So it's not about renouncing the desire because it's not worldly or spiritual or that kind of crap. No, it's simply letting go of the attachment, the importance, the projections that we have on those things, right? So questions that I often get is, how do I actually get to release that importance, right? And all of us have certain patterns where we give importance to certain things. You know, maybe it's a man, woman that you see in the street that you find super attractive, you know, that kind of lust. Maybe it's success, maybe it's money, maybe it's certain objects, right? We all have different patterns. You have to realize and ask yourself really that question. And I invite you to do it on paper so that you can focus your mind, because this is very important. You can list those things that you want, that you really want, right? You can even do that for things that you really wanted in the past if you want to. And you write them down, right? And next to it, you have to ask yourself that question. Getting that thing, having, manifesting that thing in my life, what would that do for me? How would that make me feel? And write down the one or two answers that comes in, that one or two word, and usually 99.9% of the time, it's a feeling. It make me feel loved. It will give me a sense of relief, peace, freedom, success, happiness, that I will finally feel good enough, whatever it might be, right? For me, in my life, I noticed that the money, the success, the fame, and all those things I was often chasing ever since I was, in my early 20s, it was all to feel worthy, to feel successful, to feel good enough. Different words that really represent the same thing, that same feeling of, I'm okay, I'm worthy, I'm good enough, right? And when I realized that, I had that click because I could see how much I was chasing that. And so again, this is the quality I haven't mastered in me yet. So in my self-image, in my sense of identity, that was lacking somewhere. And so I had belief, I had shame and guilt and all those shadows, right? Those blind spots that we don't see, that were creating, attracting, manifesting, projecting the opposite of that worthiness in my life. So those were clues of how I needed to master that quality in myself and start to give myself that sense of worthiness. So this is a topic that we can explore in another video because it's a long one, right? But the first thing is that you have to understand and really realize what is the feeling, the essence that you're really chasing, craving after. And when you look at that goal list that you have, what you will do, what you will see, and I know because I do that with all my clients, and it's always like this, you will find that the number one feeling keeps on coming back so many times. And so the answer will be obvious when you start circling that one feeling that keeps coming. Then it's about, how am I lacking that in my life? How am I not giving that to my life? And how can I start giving this to myself? This is the first invitation of reflection that I invite you to do today. So when you already do that thing, you release the resistance by seeing that what I've been giving, sending, projecting on that thing already exists between me. And that thing can never give me that quality. It can give me the illusion of that quality, but never the quality itself. And so the moment I can make myself into that state of being, right? The state of the wish fulfilled again, right? I can embody, become that person, that with that state, I can feel worthy. I no longer need that thing. Now, there's a difference between I want that thing and I need that thing. And what we want is, I want that thing, but I don't need it because I'm complete already. And that's the sweet spot, that's the boom spot. Because now there's no more resistance. Now there's congruency. Now there's alignment between those things that you desire and you having it in your life. Now you become a match in the law of resonance. We could say that you are becoming a vibrational match to that thing because you've been able to drop the resistance. Another way to release resistance is to simply interrupt the thought and the story that you have about that thing, that person, that place, that experience. What does the story sound like? This is the only one job. It's the perfect job for me. It's the perfect house, the perfect person. There's no other person. That's the one person that we're meant to be together. Sounds familiar, right? That neediness that comes back in creating that story, that rationale, that thought about why this one thing is the only one ever that could ever give you that little thing that you desire. Right? You have to notice, and I'm being so dramatic and with that voice and so on because I want you to see the foolishness and the unreality of the thought. Because if you go back and you look at your past, how often have you had that thought toward other things that today are sitting somewhere and you couldn't care less about it? So you gotta be honest, right? You gotta be really honest, because when you smell your own bullshit, you can get rid of it. And as long as you buy into that thought, that thought is true, that object has so much power, or that person has so much power, and that we are destined, it's in the stars, my tarot card reader, and I'm not gonna get there. But when you project so much desperation in the story, that's your clue that you are giving so much importance because of the story narrative that you've created. And what you focus on, expand. You start to get emotional. You have all this projection, all that things go on, and it just intensifies. Drop the story. Now, it's up to you, right? Nobody can make you drop the story. The challenge is that the ego will try to tell you that, but I'm right, right? I know I'm right. But this is not about being right or wrong. This is about making it work for you. You have to love yourself the same way that you love those projections that you create outside of you. And so when you see people that have crazy idols that they venerate and celebrate and will do everything about for them, this is exactly what they need to start doing for themselves, for their self-love, for their self-worth. Does that make sense? So own your projection, let go of the story, and realize that that thing doesn't mean anything unless I give it the meaning. It doesn't mean anything until I give it a meaning, and that is so important to understand. And when you can master those little qualities, and it takes time because the mind can be cunning, I guarantee you start seeing things just poof, popping right out of freaking nowhere, happening so fast, gift, magical, what I call magic happening in your life. This is a process that again takes time, because you have to start mastering those qualities that you've been projecting, giving on other people, things, and experiences. That's really the biggest key. And once you start to do that, you start to feel whole. And when you're whole, there is no lack. I hope you get that. Let me know what you think down in the comment, guys. I will see you in my next video. As always, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and help me grow this channel. Be well.